specifically what we should be doing as talent acquisition leaders or what have you is we should be the SMEs, the subject matter experts. So we need to know not only what's going on in the industry as a whole when it comes to diversity and who has been successful, but even within your specific industry, within your specific state or city, you should be able to go in, not be a bull in a china shop, but really educate and meet leaders and executives where they're at in regards to diversity and affinity and hiring in that space.
Welcome to the All in Recruitment podcast by Manatal, where we explore best practices, learnings, and trends with leaders in the recruitment space. If you like our content, please subscribe to our channels on YouTube and Spotify to stay tuned for our weekly episodes. I'm your host, Lydia, and joining us this week is Stephen Lee, who's most recently with McKinsey and Company. Pleasure to have you with us, Stephen.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Stephen, you obviously have vast experience in the TA and HR space. So tell us about some maybe pivotal moments in your career that's kept you in this space.
Well, for me, I have 30 plus years in this space, based both on the HR and talent acquisition side. And what's really kept me in the space is the fact that I truly have a passion for working with individuals, meaning from beginning to end, going out sourcing and recruiting talent from entry level to executive level, also from a talent management, succession planning, and career management and development perspective. I have experience there. And then also looking to make sure that the individuals that I bring into an organization, that I not only look at those individuals for the job I'm hiring for, but in the next 24 months, 36 months, looking to see if they can be a great fit for the organization for their next role. So not only am I bringing the individuals in to be a great fit right away, but also to be a part of our talent pool internally to get promoted and help the organization move forward. So that's why I've been in this space. I just have a truly great passion for bringing in talent and developing talent.
So, Stephen, tell me about the 8 months that you took to recruit the second in command of the CTO, for global CTO for McKinsey. I mean, this is 8 months of a lot of relationship building, and I can imagine there might be many elements that went into that. So maybe you can walk us through what it takes to secure someone in that role, a truly great hire for a company.
Well, definitely what you need to do when you are looking at senior level executives, anybody that's used to being in the C-suite, you have to cater. So when I say that, I put together a SLA, a service level agreement with the candidate in regards to, our communication, when we would communicate. We had a cadence on a weekly basis so I can inform her what was going on in regards to the recruiting process, what was coming up next, who would she be speaking with, when the assessments would happen, because at McKinsey, it's a very long process to bring in partners and senior partners into the organization. So just to make sure that my candidate was feeling wanted, feeling respected, feeling informed on a weekly basis, I would have these calls with her just to let her know what was coming up, what was happening on an ongoing basis, and also giving her insight in regards to who she would be chatting with. So she would be very comfortable in regards to their backgrounds, their skill sets, what they probably would like to chat about in regards to her background and skill set. So for those 8 months, there were some serious conversations going on.
And I would imagine both internal and also external, right? Just to make sure.
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely internal as well. So sharing information in regards to how she was feeling, if there was any hesitancy or if there was any questions that the candidate had, making sure that I could go to the powers that be and get credible, reliable information to share. So not only is she getting informed, but everybody internally at McKinsey was up to speed on what was going on with the candidate and things of that nature. So you're truly juggling and
Mm.
being a subject matter expert and a consultant on both sides.
Now, in terms of affinity and diversity recruiting, so what are some areas of focus in this space at the moment?
Yeah, so definitely when you're looking at diversity and affinity, I mean, it covers all
Mm.
facets. So everything from race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation. So in my most recent role at McKinsey, I was looking for women, people of color, individuals from the LGBTQ community, veterans. So we really at McKinsey wanted to make sure we brought in a diverse group of leaders into the organization.
Now, what is, in terms of keeping this as a concerted area of focus, right? What is the business impact of focusing on affinity and diversity recruiting?
Huge impact,
Mm.
especially not only with McKinsey, but I also worked for companies like Nike and Home Depot. So when you are looking to increase revenue and increase, your space in the market, you want individuals that are going to look, like your customer base. So
Mm.
you want to bring in women, you want to bring in the individuals from the Latina community, the African American community, because those are individuals that buy your products. So for me, in the organizations I've worked for, I've been lucky to be able to work with organizations that truly feel that, hey, we want our executives, we want our individuals in-house to mirror our customer base that's out there. So I think that's a great philosophy and a great way to look at business from an overall perspective.
Now, in terms of measuring all these efforts as put in, and how do you measure that impact in terms of affinity and diversity recruiting?
Well, definitely, as you look internally at your organization, you want to make sure that you have a diverse group of individuals in all of your uh, groups. When I say groups, or
Mm.
client groups, meaning sales, IT, HR, you want to make sure internally, that your numbers, again, reflect what's out in America or what's
Mm.
out there globally. So you want to make sure you have a diverse workforce in every part of your organization. So those numbers from an internal perspective, looking at the metrics, meaning women, people of
Mm.
color, again, individuals from the LGBTQ community, also veterans. You want to make sure you have a true diverse organization, and your numbers need to reflect that internally. From a ROI perspective,
Mm.
definitely, I can't give you specific numbers, but I know places like when I was at Nike, Home Depot, places like that, when I was at Kraft Foods,
Mm.
Miller, any organizations that really true were a consumer driven based organization, by having individuals from a diverse perspective, I know it impacted our numbers and our revenue. It
Mm.
had to, just based off the fact of us having a diverse group of professionals internally. Again, I couldn't give you the specific numbers,
Mm.
but I just know it did.
When you talk to people about diversity recruiting, do you face misconceptions still at this moment? And what are some of the common misconceptions you might have encountered?
Yeah, I mean, some individuals, they again, we have a diverse group of folks, not only here in the United States, but globally. And
Mm-hmm.
so they may look at diversity, in a very positive light
Mm.
in regards to, yeah, we need as much diversity as possible. And what's just happening right now in the US, where you have a lot of companies, really uh, backpedaling and not really diving into diversity like they done earlier, I guess, in the last couple of years. DE&I was huge,
Mm.
but now a lot of organizations are backpedaling based off the fact of, social media, individuals who don't look at diversity like I possibly will look at diversity,
Mm.
and just starting to uh, not purchase products based off of how an organization looks at diversity. So I think right now in the US, I think it's like 50-50, depending on what sort of industry you're in,
Mm.
which dictates, how you look at diversity. If you feel that, hey, we're getting a lot of backlash based off of DE&I and not trying to be a diverse organization, some organizations are going to pull back. But other organizations are really running to diversity, meaning we want more diversity based off of who our clients are and who our customers are across the US and globally. So I think it's, depending on, who you are and what type of industry you're
So, Stefan, when we speak about diversity recruiting and that being an area of focus, what might be some, what is the impact or what does it look like in terms of the recruitment process itself? What additional, would there be an additional step in there, or is there an added dimension to stakeholder management? And how does data come into play in this sense?
What I've seen that's been very successful is when your CEO, CFO, CHRO, your executive leadership team truly is giving you air cover and as stakeholders giving you support to
Hmm.
go out and find that diversity. I've seen some organizations go so far as to looking at the entire organization and where there's a lack of diversity, whether it's women or people of color, they demand that that leader of that particular part of the organization brings in diversity at a high level. So
Hmm.
when I say at high level, meaning manager level and above, where they can make impact on bringing in a hiring manager that can then also bring in other diverse candidates as well. So I've seen that happen at certain organizations, and those are the organizations I think that do the best when you have specific uh, headcount or FTE allotted for a diverse candidate
Hmm.
and not just a entry level candidate, but manager, director level where that person can truly make an impact. So that's, something that I truly respected and really enjoyed because you had the support, from top down and you had air cover from top down.
What might be some, what are some ways to approach bringing this topic into companies if they have not had affinity and diversity as an area of focus for recruitment, in terms of bringing that conversation into a company that has not had that kind of focus? What might be some approaches that a recruiter or talent leader can employ?
Specifically what we should be doing as talent acquisition leaders or what have you is we should be the SMEs, the subject matter experts. So we need to know not only what's going on in the industry as a whole when it comes to diversity and who has been successful, but even within your specific industry, within your specific state or city, you should be able to go in, not be a bull in a china shop, but really educate and meet leaders and executives where they're at in regards to diversity and affinity and hiring in that space. Because some individuals, again, we all come from different backgrounds, and some individuals may not look at diversity like you and I may look at it. So you got to move a little bit slower, be a little bit more empathetic and sympathetic, but still share metrics and facts
Mm.
around industry, around region, things of that nature, so they can truly understand how diversity can impact the organization, especially if you can share data from a competitor or a
Mm.
like competitor or a organization that the leaders that you're working with look up to. McKinsey does a great job at looking at diversity and from a professional services standpoint, sharing data with our clients and how metrics can impact how diversity can impact metrics and things of that nature.
Mm.
So you really want to, be able to share data and just meet folks where they're at.
In terms of sourcing or finding candidates, Stephen, is there a specific are there specific channels or is there a specific strategy that works when it comes to diversity or affinity recruiting?
Well, I mean, yes and no, but definitely you have to be specific in regards to sourcing, meaning having a ratio of diverse candidates in your candidate slate,
Mhm.
being innovative and creative in regards to how you go out and find talent, whether you want to partner up with trade organizations
Mhm.
or educational organizations to find talent. For example, I've had a lot of success and have been an ambassador for different companies at like the National Black MBA, National Hispanic MBA,
Mm.
National Society for Black Engineers and Hispanic Engineers, Society of Women Engineers, just different trade organizations that are out there where you can partner up and really try to find talent for your organization. So that's one way you can go about it. And now with AI, there's a lot of platforms out there that you can utilize that tie in with LinkedIn and other platforms where you can utilize specific Boolean searches, look for specific individuals, not only domestically, but globally. And there are some tools out there from an AI perspective where you can specifically look for only veterans, only African
Mm.
Americans, only women, only Hispanics, only Asians. And again, both domestically and globally. So there's some great tools out there right now that you can utilize to help you out.
Now, within this space, do you see any emerging trends looking into the next year into the near future, for instance?
Well, definitely utilizing AI is going to be a great tool to utilize when you're trying to find diversity. Even though these trade organizations have been around and they have career fairs and job fairs, I think another way to go out and find this talent as well is specifically targeting Black alumni associations on college campuses
Mm.
outside of just HBCUs. Also, I think that individuals are going to start thinking outside the box in regards to how to grab executive level talent, whether it's doing meet and greets, having dinners, having different types of opportunities where you can bring in diverse talent and you can have them meet with your executive leadership teams
Mm.
again, whether it's like a meet and greet or a dinner or some sort of training where individuals can all come in and do some sort of learning session, but then after that have an opportunity to network. You just got to think outside of the box when you're trying to find this talent, and not only doing it face to face, but utilizing Zoom, utilizing Teams to have meetings and meet and greets and things of that nature. But definitely to find diverse talent, you got to think outside of the box and
Mm.
you got to be innovative and creative.
So you've had 30 years of experience in this space. I'm sure you have so many stories to talk about when it comes to recruitment. But what is one story perhaps that stands out in your entire career?
Um, I would say, since we're talking about affinity and
Mm.
diversity recruiting, and I'll talk about something most recently. Um, I had the honor of hiring McKinsey's number two global CTO for all of McKinsey,
Mm.
and great candidate, African American female. I was able to get her from Deloitte, and it took me 8 months
Mm.
to cultivate that relationship, get her through assessments, get her through interviews, and get her on board. And to me, that was one of my claim to fames of my career because this is a very important position that she's going to be filling. And she could end up being the number one CTO leader of all of McKinsey. And that's because I went out and sourced her and brought her on board.
For those who are starting out in the recruitment space today, with all the technology and all that changing dynamic in the candidate expectations and what you're supposed to look out for in terms of business needs, what advice would you give someone who's starting out in the recruitment space today?
Definitely one of the things I try to do with folks is mentor, young talent acquisition individuals and recruiters and HR folks. So I would definitely tell a person to get a mentor
Mm.
because there's a lot to learn. Again, I've been doing this for over 30 years. So, I'm an individual that can go out and source candidates, not only go out and find candidates for hard to fill positions, but learn how to source, learn how to do behavioral type interviewing
Mm.
so you can really screen candidates thoroughly. Um, Also, don't be afraid of technology. Don't be afraid of AI. Try to find out what's the best and the newest and the most innovative tools and resources to use. And definitely from a LinkedIn perspective, try and get your contacts and things of that nature up to par. I mean, just try to meet as many folks as you can because you never know when you're going to need those contacts
Mm.
later on in your career. There's never, from a recruiting standpoint, in my opinion, there's no way that you can have too many contacts. You can always, look in on LinkedIn and, look at an individual's profile, see who they're connected to, see if they can connect you with individuals if you're working on a certain position. So those type of things to me are very, very important, and always continue to edify yourself. If there's any training like there, I know at one time AIRS was a big training out there for talent acquisition folks. Even to a point to where even as a recruiter, it wouldn't be bad to get a PHR or SBHR certification as well from an HR perspective, because HR individuals that you're working with internally will definitely have an understanding that you get a feel for their, you get a feel for, let's start over. Hopefully, you can edit this
Yeah.
out. But you can get an opportunity to get a feel for how an HR person works if you have a PHR and an SPHR,
Mm.
and that really, really gives you credibility internally, with the HR folks that you may be working with, as well as your hiring managers as well. Because not only do you know how to recruit, but you also are familiar with HR laws, policies, procedures, and what have you.
Well, thank you so much for your time and these generous insights. I mean, these have been great, and I'm sure they're valuable to whoever's listening in. So, if anyone wants to contact you, Stefan, what's the best platform? And LinkedIn being one of
That
them. Of course.
Yeah, definitely LinkedIn is a great way to get in
Mm.
contact with me. I'm sure you guys can share that information with the listeners and the viewers. But then I also via Instagram, I have my Instagram, which is the number seven keys to fail-proof living, and that's not only a platform you can reach me in regards to diversity and affinity and talent acquisition. But I'm also a published author, and
Mm.
my book is out there as well.
Well, thanks again, Stefan, and I wish you all the best. And thanks again for all these insights. And we have been in conversation with Stefan Lee, who was most recently with McKinsey and Company. Thank you for joining us, and remember to subscribe to stay tuned for more weekly episodes from All in Recruitment.